Hello, people of YouTube. This is Gray's Guitars, and thank you for watching. I might look a little bit different because I am trying out a new camera. I have a GoPro Hero 8 that I am using at the moment, so we'll see how this works out. We'll see how it ends up looking in the low light. I'm hoping it doesn't look super grainy because I know typically when I use the LED lights, either my placement is wrong or something ends up looking super grainy. I also am just using the GoPro's mic straight from the GoPro, so we'll see how the sound quality is as well. So this is kind of like a test video slash show off a few things that I recently purchased. So in order to do a guitar setup, you don't necessarily need these tools, but they're good to have. So for starters, we have a D'Addario string action gauge, and this apparently has like 11 different things on it. If you look on the back, it actually tells you what your string height should be. So this can give you your string height. I believe one side is inches and one side is millimeters. You flip it around, and then you can do pickup height, pickup adjustment, all sorts of good stuff. Next thing you may or may not want to purchase is a notch straight edge for neck relief to see how straight your neck is. This is a cheaper one here. This is a Neck Guru, I believe it's called. And on this side you have your 24 3/4, your Gibson. This side you have your 25 1/2, your Fender scale. And it's just a machined piece of aluminum. Also, what came with that as well is the Neck Check guitar. This is a fret rocker, and basically what you do is you put it on the frets and rock it to see if your frets are level or not. We're going to be using this. I checked both the tools against a table saw. If you're not familiar with a table saw, they have a machined piece of steel typically on the top of them that is perfectly level, perfectly flat, perfectly straight. I tested both of these tools on them, both sides, all sides on this, and they're very, very level. There were some reviews on Neck Guru saying that the fret rocker was bad, but comparing it to what I actually saw with the machined, steel on the table saw, it looked beautifully flat to me. The edges, like the very, very edges, maybe come up a tiny bit, but you're not really going to be using those edges anyway, and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to show you how to set neck relief as well, adjust your action. I'll probably be using my Epiphone Les Paul to show you all of these things because that thing hasn't been set up in forever. The action's a little high, not too high, but we'll just go from there. So what we're going to start off here with is the string action gauge. If you actually look at the back, it tells you what you want on the low E string. Let's see here if you can actually see this. I'm new to the camera, so you're just going to have to bear with me. So what it says is 1.99 millimeters. So we are looking at right around 2. So you place your string gauge here right around the fret. And 2.5, still kind of going. Yeah, this might be about 2.5. 2.5, yep, is where we're looking at. So this could theoretically get lowered by 0.5 millimeter, and you do that by adjusting the screws down here, like so with a screwdriver. The next thing we're going to take a look at is the neck relief on this guitar. This is my Epiphone Les Paul, and I'm going to be using the straight edge for this. Why does this keep shutting off? And we're going to put this here like so. Now this, you want to do it with string tension on the guitar. And the reason you want to do it with string tension on the guitar is because then you're going to know the exact neck relief of the guitar. Now I don't know if you can see this. If I can get under the strings are pretty low in that particular spot. I actually have this sitting level completely down the entire length of the guitar. It's pretty straight. There is a little gap right there in the middle. So what you would want to do in this case is you would actually want to tighten the truss rod a little bit. Not a lot, maybe half a turn, see where it is, and then go from there. I know a lot of people, you got both sides of the equation. You got some people that are like, oh, who cares? Just tighten the crap out of it. You're not really going to hurt anything. Then you got other people that are like, no, don't do that. you know, go a little bit at a time. And I'm more of the go a little bit at a time, because if you break a truss rod, especially in a guitar like this with a set neck, if you can see that over there, you're going to have a huge expense on your hands, and it's really not going to be worth it in order to pay the price to get it fixed. The last tool that we have here is going to be our fret rocker. So if we go up here, I know there's one bad fret on this guitar, not rocking, and you do, oh, hear that? So that fret right there, a little high. And you can test this on different spots of the fret, because not necessarily the entire fret might not be high, but part of it might be high. A little bit there, a little bit there. Yeah, so it wouldn't hurt for this entire fret to get shaved down. And then this, you just go down the neck. That fret, tiny bit too. Now at this point, we have to turn it. Nothing. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a tiny bit there. Nothing. Then we got to turn it again to this side. Nothing. Nothing. Maybe a hair there. Nothing. And we got to turn it to this side for the last couple of frets. So there is a small amount of fret movement, but that also could be because the neck isn't perfectly straight. So if there's a dip here, you know, kind of like a concave curve like so, then it is possible that you will get false readings on your tool, your fret rocker gauge, because the neck isn't perfectly straight. So you always want to make sure that the neck is perfectly straight. I know some people do like to have a little bit of relief in their neck, and there's really nothing wrong with that. That's more of a personal preference thing. Some people want the neck straight as an arrow. Typically, the straighter the neck, the lower the action you can get on it. But just for personal preference, make sure the neck is perfectly straight when using a fret rocker, because you may be filing frets that do not need to be filed. Now, currently, how this guitar is set up, I think it plays fine. But theoretically, I could lower the action on it, adjust the truss rod, which you get into there with a hex wrench, and you know, I can mess with the pickup height as well. So you can take a look, for instance, right here, you can see the pickup height on the string. I'm not exactly sure where these are supposed to be. They look like they're about in the same spot for me. You know, there's different gauges on here you can use for this as well. But the pickup height is the last thing you want to do, because you're going to be moving the strings around anyway, so you don't want to adjust the pickup height while you're messing with all of that. So there you have it. That is how you can do a basic guitar setup with a couple of tools. Now, you don't necessarily need these tools. If you know your frets are level, all you need is a straight edge ruler that goes about the length of your guitar. You can do it right on top of the frets to check the relief as well. Fret rocker, that's if you feel the need to level your frets. Me, I haven't got into that. I haven't got into that part of tool working yet. I don't have any, you know, crowning tools or files in order to do that. That may be something on the list, but I don't currently have a major problem with any of my guitars, minus maybe the Telecaster a little bit with the fret nibs, but it's like not enough where I want to do anything about it. But who knows, maybe I will in the future. But let me know what you think. You know, let me know what you think of the tools. You don't need to spend a bunch of money. For instance, that fret rocker and the straight edge was about 20 bucks. And this guy right here, the D'Addario string gauge, you can buy a bunch of different versions. I heard this version didn't have sharp edges. I don't want sharp edges slicing up my fretboard, you know, denting, cutting into my frets, because this is a piece of stamped steel. So this is, you know, a harder material than your frets typically are, unless you have stainless steel frets. I did end up somehow with 4 of these. Interesting story. So this one, it's not really bent, not anymore anyway. It came a little bit bent. I managed to fix it, complained to D'Addario about it, and you know, I was like, hey, you know, and then they decided to send me 2 extras. So I actually have a couple extras. These, maybe at some point I will do a giveaway of those. Let me know if you're interested in me doing a giveaway down below. So this is Gray's Guitars. I am Steve Gray. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.